You want to win more games in Fortnite Zero build, but you keep dying to third parties, bad positioning, bad movement, bad aiming, or a mix of the above? And also, after all the recent patches, adding elemental banding, removing the god items, and various balance changes, you just don't know what the right strategy is to win in Season 2? You came to the right place, because in this video, I'm going to let you take a look inside my mind on how I'm able to win games in Season 2 consistently. If you apply everything I'm showing you in this video, you will not only see drastic improvements in your normal games, but you will learn skills and strategies that will improve your chances of winning ranked matches and even tournaments. I come from a different BR where I was literally rank 1 EU for 3 years in a row, won countless tournaments, and only recently switched to Fortnite, but implementing my strategies made me climb from bronze to elite in just 4 days. So I think I can bring a unique perspective on how to win in Fortnite Season 2. My goal is to become the best together with you guys. Today I want to show you guys one of my first ranked matches after the avatar patch, since ranked is the perfect setting for what I'm going to teach you with this video series. Why? People try very hard to beat me in the cheapest ways possible. They try to third party me, camp me, backstab me while I'm doing the boss, and come up with their unique dirty tricks to defeat me. But of course, we need to develop skills and strategies that win exactly in these situations as often as possible. For this game I dropped down right into Grimgate, and this time I did not drop in the outskirts. However, I still made a distinct plan for myself on how to get as many god chests as possible, which is something I can highly recommend in order to maximize your loot in the first couple seconds into the match. Having a loot advantage, especially in ranked, will give you the edge over players on a similar skill level. I got lucky and found water bending literally on drop, which is in my opinion the strongest weapon in the game right now. Touch the water real quick to get the 3 dashes, which is something you will see me do throughout this early game over and over. If you play Grimgate, if you play Underworld, make sure you always have 3 dashes ready. They are your best tool to evade third parties and win 1v1 encounters as well. And of course, first thing I do is I push a god chest that I know is in this room, find a purple shotgun, and as I'm going for the barrels, my first enemy arrives. Notice how I react by jumping above him, making him miss most of the damage. This allows me to shoot him in the back of the head. I hit him for 124 damage and instantly do the same thing again. I jump above him, making him miss yet again before I finish the fight with another shotgun headshot. It is insanely strong indoors to just simply jump above your enemy, as it's super hard and awkward to track this. I see footsteps and know somebody is trying to approach me here, so I heal up with the banana and get back in the water so I get full dashes again. As I see shots and know these guys are fighting each other, I rotate around to the high ground, and just as I arrive, I spot the guy in the distance, but the moment I arrive, he breaks the floor to get the barrels and falls down, making him evade my shots. At this point, I'm trying to look for shields and thankfully find them right away, and I'm ready to approach my enemies. I hop back in the water and try to get an angle here, and as I go to the high ground, I see him looting. I try to get an angle but can't quite find it, so I play it cool, I play the distance, hop back in the water before I dash over to the other side and spot his sniper glint here. I shoot him once before dodging his sniper shot and reposition. Shoot again, hit him again, and reposition again. I cannot say enough how important this playstyle is in order to evade damage, and evading damage is the most important priority for early games, especially if you're in a hotspot like Grimgate. Fortnite is not a 1v1. This is not your only enemy. Yes, maybe I could have done more damage, but what if he snipes me to the body? What if he snipes me to the hand? So my personal playstyle is a poke and reposition playstyle. Deal some damage, reposition. Deal some damage, reposition. Do this enough times until your advantage is so high that you can comfortably finish the fight in one go. However, I only did 48 damage, so I rotate to the high ground to get more information on what's happening on Grimgate. I spot footsteps to my left and decide to use one of my 2 dashes to get on the high ground. As I cannot find a good opening, I decide it's time to refresh my dashes, hop back in the water, where I spot another enemy that just jumped on me as well. Instantly get distance again. Yes, I could have taken a shot on his back, but the chances of me taking a high amount of damage were too high, so I evade the fight and try to get a better advantage first. Thankfully, I finally find a Gatekeeper shotgun, which I think is leagues above the pump. I take a right side peek, wait for the guy to move, quickly get some more damage on him, and as he pushes me, I abuse my right side peek again, but this time not to shoot, but in order to dash out of cover behind him, making him miss again, hitting him with a shotgun shot before instantly dashing again. However, the guy reacted pretty nicely and also dashed away. I used this chance to replenish my dashes. Again, do this over and over if you're playing Grimgate. The dashes are your main resource in order to win the early game. As I'm chasing the guy, I notice he's doing the same. I spot him in the water, hit him for 72 damage before getting in cover, doing the same thing one more time. I know he's super low at this moment, so I dash in with my shorty. However, he reacted well again, dashed away. I tag him for a little bit of damage, do that one more time, and hear him climbing to the high ground above me. Instead of taking the stairs, I jump straight at him and finish him with the shorty. The moment I finish him, the third party arrives, which is all too common in Grimgate. So what I do, I take a right side peek, try to hit him on the way up. However, he used his dash to get on the high ground, and I myself have no more dashes. So of course, the solution is, do not take the fight, make sure you get dashes again. I evade him as he's throwing grenades on me and get back into the water. As I see more footsteps behind me, I decide not to take the fight right away, but instead create more distance between me and my enemies and make sure they're all on the same side, so I cannot get shot in my back. I spot one guy getting into the water and choose to chase him down. I put a little bit of damage on him, but seeing the footsteps of the other guy again makes me prioritize my own safety. I dash back to the high ground and wait for a better opening. And as I hear shots and see that one of them died, I try to approach the situation. I am certain he was just in his building over there, so I try to get on the same high ground. I find shield bubbles on the way, which are the perfect way to close distance on somebody that's abusing the right side peek. I close the distance and I'm surprised to not find him here. I don't know when he left, but I still really like the way I approached this high ground push. I got on the same level as him and used shield bubbles to close the distance. This is exactly how you should approach a situation like this. I see him return to the loot and I'm ready to launch a surprise attack. I drop down, hit him with 2 shorty shots, and while I did 76 damage to him, it is not enough for me to feel comfortable. So I dash in cover and try to find another opening. I do really want to go for the boss fight at this point because I need Cerberus Medallion for the mid and end game. I will not be able to stay in Grimgate all game long, and I don't want to play without the dashes ever. I still had 1 shield bubble left, and knowing ranked gamers, I was sure he's gonna camp me when I activate the boss fight, so I throw my bubble on it in order to activate it for free. And of course, in this situation, knowing there's a camper, most likely, waiting on the high ground, I take cover from that high ground and try to do the boss fight from all the way over here. However, sadly, this guy managed to find a good angle and hits me with a snipe anyways. My calculation that there was a camper was right, and I'm certain if I was any closer to the boss fight, he would have been able to push me right away after the snipe. But this way, I'm able to rotate out. However, another guy approaches in a car while I'm missing 80 health. As he closes the distance, I jump around the tree to hit him once with the shorty, twice with the shorty, before dashing back into the water. But on my flight, I hit him with a 180 before I replenish my dashes. And notice how I keep moving around. I never want to be a still target that my enemy can shoot for free. And at all times, I'm seeking cover as much as possible. Look that while I only have this very small rock here, I use it super efficiently in order to block all shots coming from him. I create a right side peek and hit him for 60 damage again. By now, I hit him for so much damage while not receiving any myself and choose to push with a dash. However, this guy is already running. I close the distance one more time, and while I'm trying to go around the corner, he dashes past me. I don't get greedy. I jump back in the water to get more dashes while evading his shots. I dash back up, and knowing he has the high ground advantage, I dash one more time to get a better angle, sadly miss my shots, but before he can even track me, I dash again. We then get into this classic Grimgate dash battle, and here again my priority is to take as little damage as possible. Notice how I'm not going for this open fight super close range, but instead dash away to finish him with a nice 96 damage headshot. Now of course I want to get back to the boss fight, however the camper from earlier was waiting for the third party situation again here and chooses to push me. I hit him with a nice shot with my shorty as he jumps around me before I notice him placing a shield bubble down here. I'm ready to play his game. I jump in front of it and I don't panic. I wait for just the right moment where I can strike him and quickly get out of the bubble again. Do that right here, hit him for 84 damage and instantly dash back out, evading any incoming damage. At this point, he's afraid and of course he's trying to run. I hit him with some damage while he leaves, but I know how this is gonna go. This is gonna be an infinite chase and I want the medallion. So instead of chasing, I go for the boss fight one more time. As I finish the boss and notice that somebody sniped the boss as well, I quickly take the loot and dash away one more time. As I'm trying to heal up, I notice the footsteps coming closer. So again, I'm going back to my poke and reposition strat. I slide jump out of cover, hit him once and instantly dash back up. I go back down, dash behind him, hit him twice with a shorty before I dash one more time to finish him. What I really like about this fight is not just how well I hit him, but how well I evade his damage. I didn't lose a single point of HP to this guy, simply because of good movement. Try to look at where your enemy is looking. If he puts his weapon in front of your face, move. If there's an opening, shoot. At this point, I look at the map because we took so long here for this early game fight. The medallion from the underworld already arrived, which is nice because I wanted to go there anyways. I take this guy's airbending and start rotating. I try to get into the mind of my enemy and thought, if I'm coming from the underworld and I'm pushing Grimgate, which way am I gonna go? Because again, I know this guy has the medallion from the underworld, and of course, you would come over the high ground. So I try to get behind him and follow his footsteps. And guess what? I find him just here. I use the super jump from airbending to completely confuse this guy and jump straight above him. Look at how he can't seem to find me. Hit him with the shotty, hit him one more time and reposition. Switch to waterbending and finish him off. Knowing the map, super important. Try to think about what your enemy is doing. What would you do in their position? From what angle would you push? Think about it and act accordingly. Okay, this was a very long early game, but in my opinion, a perfect showcase of all the difficulties a Grimgate drop has, and also I showed exactly how to master them. Let's summarize. Your highest priority will be to always be full dashes and use the dashes to evade as much incoming damage as possible. You have to play patient and evade situations where you have an enemy in front of you and behind you. Try to position yourself in a way that you have your enemies on one side while you are on the other. Don't get third-partied, but third-party. And when you go for the boss, take distance, take cover, and prepare for the third party because it's coming. And as you saw, if you follow this strat 100% and don't get severely outgunned, you will come out on top. Even in ranked, usually I literally win all of my fights like this. Situations where I lose are usually if there's a camper, just as I had many here, that does get the lucky headshot with the snipe. But I'm not joking. You can watch me daily on my live stream. I'm literally winning close to 100% of my fights with this strat. Let's continue. In the mid game, as always, getting a car is super important for rotating. Yes, I had airbending and I can just rotate with this. It does have upsides. Biggest upside being that it cannot be damaged, so you can actually move infinitely. Plus you also get vertical movement, of course, and can evade shots with it. However, the reason why I like cars more in the mid game is that they are portable cover. In the late game, you're usually super focused on your enemy position, and if you play it right, you already know their position, but in the mid game, you simply don't. There's so much distance to travel, you will just not know what's happening in the different parts of the map yet, and a car will tank that first snipe that's coming at you, or the first burst of damage, and simply for that, I highly recommend play cars in the mid game. And what I'm trying to do, again, I said this already in my other video, is eliminate as many people as possible in the mid game so the end game is less crowded. The highest chance of losing, despite playing correctly, are endgame situations where there is too many angles to cover. So I like to push W and attack everything that moves in the mid game. At the same time, of course, I will still try to evade as much damage as possible. I here fight and push up to the hill here, instantly hitting the guy for 168 damage with my waterbending. I can only repeat, waterbending is absolutely busted. As I see somebody airbending behind me, I close the distance and yet another car approaches. I know we're in a very hot situation here, but I'm trying to keep my cool. And when I push the next guy, I notice there's a fight on the building right next to me, and I want to third party this. I dash up top to get the high ground and instantly finish him with a nice shot with my shotgun. In this next situation, I'm trying to be as agile as possible. So instead of a car, I use airbending. I'm trying to cover angles by jumping high in order to get as much info as possible that you just wouldn't get if you use a car. I spot no one around though, so I decided it's time to push back and see if there's any shields for me that I can grab. However, while pushing up, I spot footsteps again. I instantly dash into cover before he can even shoot me. Don't try to react only, try to act before you take damage. I try to find different angles here. However, I almost get sniped in my bag. I immediately reposition, as again, my highest priority is to not be between two enemies. I position myself in a way that both are in front of me, and the other guy that was sniping me before is now in the middle. I rotate even further to check behind to make sure I'm able to go for this fight. I spot him in his building, and one of the other strengths of waterbending is you have infinite ammo, so I decide to take apart this whole building, forcing this guy to move away from that high ground. He tries to peek me, but waterbending is absolutely busted, so I hit him for 120 damage right away, forcing him to flee. I use this to get closer, and again look for shields. However, I spot somebody shooting down from Loot Island. Pretty dangerous for me here as well. And knowing I might get shot, instead of airbending, I take the car. And also, I know there's too many people on this side of the map, and we're in a top 6 situation. We are now in the end game. So So let's summarize the mid game. Get rid of as many people as possible. And again, do not get sandwiched. Reposition in a way that all enemies are on one side of you. Evade damage as much as possible. Third party, and don't get third partied yourself. By again, positioning yourself properly on the map. Let's get into the end game. Again, the first thing I just said, play the side of the map that your enemies are not playing. I know somebody was shooting down from Loot Island to another guy that was on this side as well. Plus we had another guy that was running from me. So I choose to take my car in order to get into this endgame circle. I noticed somebody landing in front of me that jumped off Loot Island and he placed a stone wall in front of me. As I try to damage it, he throws a rock at me that I evade in the very last second with a nice little jump to the left. I destroy his wall. However, I see footsteps behind me and I know there is no other way to break line of sight with at least one of the two players than to push this one. If I went any other way, I would 100% get sandwiched. So I push up into my car, try to get distance. However, I notice it's not possible. So I get out of the car, shoot him once and dash closer, and evading the angle of the stone wall guy meant he could only snipe this guy. He did, and I thankfully didn't lose any HP in the process. I look at the zone and I know it's time to rotate. My car is damaged, so it's no longer an option. However, we are close to Grim Gate, so instead of even airbending, I go for the green water in order to get infinite dashes. It is borderline impossible to get sniped if you move like this. I could move into the zone right away here. However, I choose to look backwards and see if anybody is pushing the zone from this side too first. I know I have people behind me and this could be a nice opportunity to damage them. He ends up rotating from Loot Island, hit him with one snipe, but it's not gonna be enough to do a sufficient amount of damage here. So I rotate back into Grim Gate. Spot a guy on the roof there, hit him for 96 damage before positioning myself properly in Grim Gate as well here. I dash through the window and it's time to chill. The zone is super small, you have 5 people left and your highest priority now in the end game is to not get third partied as much as it is under your control. Laying low in the center of the zone like I'm doing right here is only recommended if it's actually in a huge building complex like we are in exactly right now. Normally the center of the zone is gonna be the worst position as everybody will have an angle on you. Here of course it's different. I have cover in all directions and I'm happy to play the zone. Spot a guy outside, hit him with a snipe before getting back in cover. Time passes and I notice I'm not in the next zone. How do you approach the situation? Do not panic, do not push first. You want to get into the zone as the zone is moving in. Why? This avoids the situation where you move in and you get shot in the back from somebody that waited longer. Be the guy that waits longest. How can you make sure you're the guy that can move in last? Play a high ground if possible. That's what I do. I jump on the roof and guess what? The zone moves and people have to move in while I have a high ground on them. Sadly, I don't manage to do too much damage on this guy here as he had dashes from the river that is exactly underneath us. On any other spot on the map, this play would have meant certain deaths for that guy. And again, I have the high ground. I can wait the longest. Other guy underneath me that I heard before has to move first. Yes, he also has dashes, so he waits some damage. However, I hit him for a lot of damage here and managed to finish him because I played the zone right. Sadly, just as I want to move in, I do get sniped and I don't have any shield remaining. However, we made it in a top 3 situation, and in the final top 3 situation, I cannot stress this enough, your main plan will be to not fight first, no matter what happens. Try to be the guy that plays the zone the best, meaning one of the other 2 guys has to be out of position first. I see this guy building up a wall on top, having a perfect angle on me, so I'm forced to use a shockwave grenade to get past him. I do just that, and I'm completely fine here. I try to get into a position that allows me to get into the next zone without taking damage. I notice these guys are fighting and quickly get a free angle and hit him for a perfect 72 damage shot there as he's moving in. I get vision of the 2 guys and notice they're fighting. I try an angle, however, it looks like the other guy also moved and this guy starts shooting me. Again, I reposition and try not to fight first. I wait for these guys to fight. Notice how I literally decide not to shoot them at all while I had a perfect angle on them because I want these 2 guys to damage each other as much as possible. I can't tell who's winning the fight, and if I allow them to fight each other without cutting the fight short, I make sure the winner takes as much damage as possible from the loser first. Only after he finishes the fight, I try to shoot, miss everything. However, as I see him healing, I'm confident in dashing in. Sadly, I hit him with the dash, pushing him out of the zone, but making him miss my shotgun shot. I quickly reposition to the high ground, throw a shockwave grenade on him to push him into the zone, hit him with a shotgun shot, when I stay on the high ground and finish the whole game without really taking any more risk at all in the end game. I took this game because I'm so happy about how I mastered this end game. This end game was 0% about good aim or even good reactions at all. This was all macro strategy. I played the zone correctly, forcing my enemies to make the move before I do, and simply cleaning up without being at risk at all. The perfect end game execution. Alright guys, I think you learned a lot in this video about early game, mid game, and end game, and I am certain if you take what you learned from this video, you will improve your win rate. Again, whether it's normal matches, ranked, or even tournaments. For more videos like this, leave a like and subscribe. This channel is all about mastering zero build in any way possible. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.